You're listening to the Get Out of Your Own Damn Way podcast, episode number 114.
So you think you're all ready for change, but do you have all your resources prepped and ready to go? That's right, you've got to have your ducks in a row, because facing change unprepared is kind of like baking chocolate chip cookies without any chips. Like what's the point? But don't you worry, because I'm going to give you the perfect recipe for change.
Welcome to the Get Out of Your Own Damn Way podcast. I'm your host, Krylyn Peters. Each week, I bring you inspiring messages to help you create the life you're meant to lead. Buckle up, buttercups.
Welcome to the podcast. We are talking about resources today. It's a topic that I don't think gets enough attention. So I wanted to devote an entire episode just to the resources that we absolutely, unequivocally need in order to face any changes that we are facing. So let's get to it. What do I mean by resources? I mean a couple different things. I'm going to kind of break it down a little bit during this episode. And I want to make sure that you know I've got this all outlined in a handout that you can find at krylyn.com/114. That's KRYLYN.com/114 for today's episode. So go grab it and you will have it in front of you to cherish forever. So resources, we need help. We need help. You need help. I need help. We need help when we're going through change. And it can be something pretty simple to even much more complex, multi-layered, multifaceted, but we need change. We do not live in a vacuum. We do not live on the planet by ourselves. We are not hermits on the side of a mountain. We need help. So when I am talking about resources, I'm talking about what you need in order to face change. There's two types of resources that I am talking about. One I call inner resources, and the other is outer resources. So let me break that down for you. When I say inner resources, I'm talking about the things inside you that you have or need to brush up on. Just reminding, right? So sometimes you already know it, but you just need a little reminder. But the things inside of you that you need in order to face any change that you're going through. So the first thing that you need is a winning mindset. What do I mean by that? Well, it's really about how you think and what you think. Okay, here we go. I know this happens when you're facing change. It happens to me too. And that is like that inner pesky self-critic comes rearing its ugly head, telling us that we're not good enough, we're not going to make it through, that, like, why me? All the negative stuff, like I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, blah, 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 blah. So we really need to get a handle on that. And my goodness, this is like one of my core teachings. I talk so much about how we can deal with our mindset and shifting our thoughts. So this is just kind of a little bit of a reminder. And in that handout, I'm going to give you some specific examples. But it's really about shifting the negative thoughts to the positive thoughts. Okay, so winning mindset is the first thing. How you think and what you think. The second inner resource that I want to talk about is managing the icky emotions. Okay. And I don't really think they're icky. They're just kind of a signal. This is another one of my core teachings, is about managing emotions. So feelings just are. They're not good or bad. We do assign judgment to them because we don't like to feel uncomfortable. We don't like to feel stuck or fearful or scared or stressed out. All of those yuckity yuck feelings that inevitably come up when we're facing change. So we need to get a handle on that. We need to understand really our relationship with emotions, what they're here to teach us, and then also how to deal with them when, not if, but when they do come up. So that is the second inner resource that I'm talking about. The next inner resource I want to talk about is how we treat our bodies, what we allow inside. So in our mouths, what we breathe in, what we eat, what we ingest, but also things like sleep, how much rest we get, how we handle downtime and breaks, if we allow ourselves breaks. So those kinds of things as well. We really need to get a handle on that and allow for the best optimal way to treat our bodies that helps us manage our emotions and also handle any pesky thoughts that are coming in. Because when we're not paying attention to our body, when we're hungry, when we're tired, when we're thirsty, we get, well, I'm going to speak for myself. I get friggin' cranky, right? I just don't want to deal with it. I get irritable. I just want to be left alone. And I can also have some other kind of physical symptoms going on with my body, as I'm sure you do too. So we've got to pay attention to our bodies as well. And then there's one other inner resource that I'm just going to touch on a little bit because holy cannoli, I have like the next 6 episodes devoted to this topic, if you can actually believe that. I was outlining this next topic, which is motivation. Yes, we need motivation to face change. And it just spiraled into all these offshoots. So over the next 6 episodes, I'm going to dive super, super deep into motivation and that being an inner resource. So those are the 4 inner resources that I am talking about, the things inside of you that you can tap into as you're dealing with change. Now I want to talk about outer resources. So what the frick do I mean about outer resources? So if inner resources are what's inside, then our outer resources is what's outside, or I'd rather say what's around us. And I have this kind of broken down into 3 subcategories. The first one is people. The next one is places. And I bet you can guess the third one. It's things. So people, places, and things. So let me dive into what I mean by all of that. People. What kind of people are going to help you face change? Now, here's my caveat, and I am going to do, I'm sure, at least 1 episode, probably more, on the very topic of supportive people. Okay, so there's a difference between having people in your life who are supportive and people in your life who are not supportive. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go too deep into that in this episode, but like I said, in future episodes, we are going to talk about that monster in the room. So I want you to just think about the people in your life, supportive people. Okay, I'm talking about supportive people who can help you with change. Could be friends, could be family, could be neighbors, could be colleagues, could be, teachers. Actually, I have a long list on the handout. If you download that, you'll have access to that. And then any other people that you can think of, just people who are going to support you along your journey. Be your cheerleader. Hold that mirror up to you and be that true support that you need through your journey. So the next subcategory is places. And by places, I really just mean your environment. Okay, so places can mean a lot of different things, but in this context, what I'm talking about is your environment. So take a minute, as long as you're in a safe place, I want you to look around. Okay, so when I say safe place, I mean you're not driving. I don't want you to take your eyes off the road or anything like that. But what I want you to do is if you're home or if you are in your office or somewhere else that doesn't require you to look only one place, and you can just go turn your head around, maybe turn your body, spin around, see what's around you right now. Is that environment supportive? Okay, so here's the thing, is clutter. I'm just going to say it, clutter. Okay, think about what is cluttering your environment. Are there papers? Are there clothes? Is there trash? Is there crap around that is cluttering up your environment? Because if there is, I'm going to guess that it is stressing you out on some level. For me, when I have clutter in my environment, I don't even realize sometimes how it affects me, how it affects my mood, how it affects my energy level. And once I clear out that clutter, it's amazing. It's almost like having a weight lifted off my shoulders, having just like this easy breezy carefreeness, if you will, to allow me the space, the energy to create and to be productive. So I cannot stress this enough. Your environment is super important. So you want to pay attention to that. The third outer resource I'm going to talk about, that third subcategory, is things. And in this context, again, it could mean so many different things, haha. However, what I mean in this context is what you know. So it's mostly your knowledge. So it could be the skills you've acquired. It could be the education or the training you've acquired. It also could just be your innate talents, whether it's kind of just something you were born with or even that you have cultivated along the way. So knowing all of that, knowing what you're good at, what your strengths are, what you know, and what you're talented at is going to really help support you as you're facing change. Again, I invite you to go get your handout for today's episode at krylyn.com/114. That's KRYLYN.com/114, where I outline in more detail all of those inner and outer resources and give you the space to identify what you already have and what you may need more of as you are facing change. And this is important because we're going to be coming back to this in some future episodes coming up. And next week, we are going to dive into this apparently big topic of motivation. See you then.
Thanks for listening to the Get Out of Your Own Damn Way podcast. If you've been inspired, please share the podcast with your friends. You can find us on iTunes or at Krylyn.com. KRYLYN.com.